Right now, as you are watching this, a massive pattern flip is developing across the United States. And I am not exaggerating when I say this could be one of the most dramatic weather shifts we have seen in months. We are talking about temperatures swinging 40 degrees in some cities. We are talking about a winter storm barreling toward the Ohio Valley and the Northeast this weekend. And behind that storm, a flood threat that could dump 2 to 4 inches of rain across a huge stretch of the country. But here is the thing, that is not even the biggest story. The biggest story is what happens after all of that. Because by the first week of March, everything flips. The pattern completely reverses, and severe weather season could kick off weeks earlier than normal. So if you live anywhere from Denver to Boston, from Dallas to Detroit, from Minneapolis to Miami, you need to hear what is coming. Stay with me for the next few minutes because at the 5-minute mark, I am going to break down the exact timing of when this pattern flip hits your city. Not a general idea. Exact days, exact windows. That is coming. But first, let me show you what is happening right now and why this matters so much. Let me set the stage for you. It is Thursday, February 26th, 2026. And right now, as we speak, there is active weather across the eastern half of the country. Rain is falling from Raleigh down through Columbia and into the Atlanta metro. We have got showers pushing through the mid-Atlantic, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, all seeing rain right now. And up in Michigan, specifically the Upper Peninsula near Traverse City and up toward Marquette, snow is falling. Not a lot, but enough to remind you that winter is not done yet. Not by a long shot. And here is what nobody tells you about what is happening in the atmosphere right now. There are multiple pieces of energy flying across the jet stream. Think of it like a highway. And right now, there are several cars barreling down that highway at high speed. The first one is going to clip the southeast tonight with some stronger storms. We could see hail in parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia this evening. And I know what you are thinking. Hail in February? Yes. Actually, it is more common than you think this time of year because the air is already cold aloft. You do not need as strong of an updraft to keep those ice pellets from melting before they hit the ground. So if you are in central Alabama, if you are in Georgia, if you are in Mississippi tonight, heads up. Stronger thunderstorms are possible and a little bit of hail would not surprise me at all. But that is just the appetizer. The main course is coming this weekend. Now here is where it gets interesting, and I mean really interesting, because what we are tracking for Sunday into Monday is a winter storm that is going to impact millions of people across the Ohio Valley and potentially the Northeast. But here is the twist. The models cannot agree on how big this thing is going to be. And that disagreement is actually the story right now. Let me explain. The Global Forecast System, what we call the GFS, is showing a more suppressed system. That means the storm stays farther south and does not really curl up the coast like a classic nor'easter. If the GFS is right, the biggest impacts are going to be felt from St. Louis down through Louisville into eastern Kentucky and then northeast towards Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. The GFS is also showing ice getting as far south as Interstate 40 in North Carolina, snow into Virginia, a wintry mix mess through much of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. That is the GFS solution. Now, the European model. Different story. The European model has a skinnier band of snow pushing through Iowa, up through Chicago, into parts of Indiana, specifically Bloomington northward, Springfield northward into Illinois, and then into southern Michigan and Ohio. But the European kind of fizzles this storm out as it works toward the northeast. So the European says less of a big deal for New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. Here is the thing, though. When the models disagree like this, it tells us something important. It tells us the track is still uncertain. And a shift of just 50 miles north or south completely changes who gets snow, who gets ice, and who just gets rain. 50 miles. That is it. That is the margin we are working with right now.
So what do we know for sure? Here is what we know. Somewhere between Kansas City and Richmond, Virginia, there is going to be an ice threat this weekend into early next week. Freezing rain. And that is actually more dangerous than snow in a lot of ways. You can drive in snow, you can shovel snow, but a 1/4 inch of ice on the roads, on the power lines, on the trees, that shuts everything down. And that ice threat is real. It is something I am watching very closely for localized areas across that corridor. Now let me give you the timing, because I know that is what you care about. You do not want to hear me say a storm is coming sometime this weekend. You want to know exactly when. So here it is. If you are in Des Moines, Iowa, Snow starts moving in late Saturday night into Sunday morning. It peaks Sunday afternoon, and it should be winding down by Sunday evening. For you, this is primarily a snow event, probably a couple of inches, maybe 3 or 4 in the heavier bands. But it moves through quickly if you are in St. Louis, Missouri. This is a trickier forecast. Precipitation starts Sunday morning. It begins as rain, but as colder air wraps around the backside of the system, you could see a changeover to a wintry mix, sleet, or freezing rain by Sunday afternoon. The worst of it is Sunday afternoon through Sunday night, and it tapers off by Monday morning. But that transition period from rain to ice is the danger zone for St. Louis. If you are in Chicago, Illinois, snow arrives Sunday afternoon. It is going to be heaviest Sunday evening through overnight into Monday morning, and it clears out by Monday midday. The European model likes a band of moderate snow through Chicago. The GFS is a little more aggressive with totals. Either way, plan for a messy Monday morning commute if you are in Indianapolis, Indiana. You are right in that uncertain zone. Snow, sleet, freezing rain, or a mix of all three is possible starting Sunday afternoon. The peak is Sunday night into Monday morning, and the precipitation ends by Monday afternoon. Your biggest concern is going to be that ice component. Even a thin glaze of ice can make roads treacherous. Cincinnati, Ohio. Very similar setup to Indianapolis. Precipitation starts Sunday afternoon. The peak is Sunday night. Snow and ice mix through Monday morning, and it clears by Monday afternoon. The rain-snow line is going to be very close to Cincinnati, so you could end up on either side of this thing. Stay tuned for updates. Louisville, Kentucky. Now, Louisville, this is one of the cities I am most concerned about because you are sitting right in that freezing rain zone on multiple model solutions. Precipitation starts Sunday morning. It could be rain at first, but as the cold air undercuts, freezing rain becomes likely Sunday afternoon through Sunday night. If this verifies, Louisville could be looking at a significant icing event. The worst of it is Sunday afternoon through early Monday morning, and it ends by Monday midday. Eastern Kentucky, same story as Louisville, but potentially worse. The mountains tend to hold on to cold air longer. Freezing rain could start Sunday afternoon and not end until Monday afternoon. That is a long-duration ice event. And for anyone in that region, please take this seriously. Charge your devices, have flashlights ready, know where your emergency supplies are. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Snow and a wintry mix arrive Sunday evening. The peak is overnight Sunday into Monday. It transitions to mostly rain by Monday afternoon as warmer air pushes in. Probably 2 to 4 inches of snow before the changeover with some ice mixed in. Cleveland, Ohio. Very similar to Pittsburgh. Snow starts Sunday evening. It is heaviest overnight Sunday into Monday, and it ends Monday afternoon. Cleveland is far enough north that this stays mostly snow. 3 to 5 inches is possible, maybe a little more in the snow belt east of the city. Now let me jump to the East Coast because I know a lot of you are watching from there, and I promised you specific forecasts for over 70 cities, so let me deliver on that promise right now. Do not skip ahead. This is the section where I go city by city. Washington, D.C. Here is the deal with D.C. You are on the southern edge of this system. If the storm tracks further south, you could see snow mixing with sleet on Monday. If it stays on its current suppressed track, you might just get cold rain. Right now, the odds favor a mix of rain and sleet for D.C. starting Monday morning, peaking Monday afternoon, and ending by Monday evening. But if the track shifts even slightly, D.C. could pick up a couple inches of snow. 50-50 right now. Baltimore, Maryland, similar to D.C., but with slightly better odds for accumulating snow because you are a little farther north. Precipitation starts Monday morning. Peak is Monday afternoon, ends Monday night. Could see 1 to 3 inches if the track cooperates. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You are in a better position for snow accumulation than D.C. or Baltimore. The models are showing precipitation arriving Monday morning, with snow likely by midday. Peak snowfall Monday afternoon through Monday evening. It tapers off overnight Monday into Tuesday. 2 to 4 inches possible, but this is highly track dependent, and I cannot stress that enough. A 50-mile shift changes everything for Philly, New York City. Now here is where it gets really uncertain. The GFS keeps this storm suppressed and does not bring much to the city at all. The European has a light snow event. My best estimate right now is light snow Monday afternoon into Monday evening. Maybe an inch or two, maybe less. New York City is not the bullseye for this storm, but do not let your guard down because the second round later next week could be more impactful. Boston, Massachusetts, same story as New York, but even less certain. Light snow is possible Monday evening into Tuesday morning, but the signal is weak. If you are in Boston, you might dodge this one entirely, or you might wake up Tuesday with a coating.
Right now, the odds lean toward a minor event. 1/2 inch to 2 inches maximum. Providence, Rhode Island. Very similar to Boston. Light snow possible Monday evening through overnight. Not a blockbuster, not even close. But enough to make the roads slick if it verifies. Hartford, Connecticut. Slightly better odds for snow than the coastal cities. Monday afternoon through Monday night. 1 to 3 inches possible. And again, if the track shifts north, these numbers go up. If it shifts south, they go down. Albany, New York. You are far enough north and inland that this is likely a snow event for you. Monday afternoon through Tuesday morning. 2 to 4 inches looks reasonable on the blend of models. Syracuse, New York. Snow Monday evening through Tuesday morning could see 3 to 5 inches. Syracuse is used to this. But plan accordingly if you have travel plans. Burlington, Vermont. This might stay mostly snow for you. Monday night through Tuesday, 3 to 6 inches possible, especially in the higher terrain. The European model likes to keep it all snow for Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, Portland, Maine. Snow starts late Monday, peaks Tuesday morning, and ends Tuesday afternoon. 3 to 5 inches possible. This is the tail end of the system. But northern New England often does well with these suppressed systems because the cold air is locked in. Now let me talk about the cities that are going to get absolutely crushed, not by this winter storm, but by what comes after it. And this is the part of the video you do not want to miss, because here is the bombshell. By Friday, February 27th, temperatures across the heart of the country are going to be so far above average, it will feel like a different season. We are talking 36 degrees above average in Denver, 40 degrees above average in Omaha, 40 degrees above average in Topeka. Let that sink in. 40 degrees above your normal temperature for this time of year. That is not a typo. That is not a misread. 40 degrees, but wait, that extreme warmth is only half the story. Because while the center of the country is baking, a massive plume of cold air is dropping out of Canada, and where those two air masses collide is where all the action is going to be. Snow, ice, severe thunderstorms, flooding, all of it, right there at the boundary. And here is the pattern flip I keep talking about. For weeks now, we have had a warm west and a cool east. That has been the pattern. Warm temperatures out in California, Colorado, the Rockies, cooler and stormier in the east. But now that pattern is about to completely reverse. The west is going to cool down. The east is going to warm up dramatically. And when that happens, severe weather season kicks into high gear. Now, here is where I want you to drop a comment below and tell me what city you are watching from, because I am going to be doing follow-up videos with more specific forecasts for your area. Just type your city and state in the comments. That is it. And I will make sure your region gets covered in the next update. I read every single comment, and your input helps me decide what to focus on. All right, let me now walk you through the severe weather and flooding threat that is building for the first week of March. And I want to be very clear. I am not trying to scare anybody. I am trying to prepare you. There is a big difference. Preparation saves lives. Panic does not. So let us talk facts. The Climate Prediction Center is highlighting an area from Dallas up through Memphis, through Springfield, Missouri, and even extending toward Detroit and Chicago as being in a much above normal zone for precipitation over the 6 to 10 day period. That means from about March 4th through March 8th, this entire region is going to see significantly more rain than usual. And when I say significantly, I mean the Weather Prediction Center is forecasting 2 to 4 inches of rain widespread from Springfield, Missouri up through St. Louis and toward Indianapolis. Some areas will see more than that, possibly much more. And here is the kicker. A lot of this heavy rain is going to fall in areas that actually need it. We have got drought conditions across parts of the central United States right now. And this rain is likely going to put a serious dent in that drought. So there is a silver lining here. But too much rain too fast is never a good thing, and that is the concern. Let me time this out for you city by city, because timing is everything. Dallas, Texas. Active weather starts around Tuesday, March 3rd. Thunderstorms become likely by Wednesday. The heaviest rain falls Wednesday night through Thursday. Some of these storms could be severe. We are talking large hail, damaging winds, and an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. The rain tapers off Friday, but another round is possible over the weekend. Total rainfall for Dallas, 1.5 to 3 inches. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Very similar timeline to Dallas, but the severe weather risk might be even higher because you are right in the clash zone between the warm and cold air. Storms fire up Wednesday afternoon. They peak Wednesday evening through Thursday morning. This could be a significant severe weather event for Oklahoma. Hail, wind, and tornadoes are all on the table. Rainfall totals 2 to 3.5 inches. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Storms arrive Wednesday evening. Peak activity Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Same severe weather threats as Oklahoma City. Rainfall totals similar, 2 to 3 inches. Wichita, Kansas. You might see the first storms as early as Tuesday night. But the main event is Wednesday. Heavy rain and thunderstorms peak Wednesday afternoon through Wednesday night. Rainfall totals 1.5 to 3 inches. Kansas City, Missouri. This is a key city to watch. You are right at the intersection of where the winter weather ends and the severe weather begins. Early in the week, Monday into Tuesday, you might still see some wintry precipitation, but by Wednesday, it is all rain and thunderstorms. Heavy stuff. Peak rainfall Wednesday night through Thursday. 2 to 4 inches total. Flash flooding is a real concern for Kansas City. Springfield, Missouri. You are in the bullseye for heavy rain. Thunderstorms start Tuesday night. The heaviest rain falls Wednesday through Thursday. This is going to be a multi-day event for Springfield. Rainfall totals could exceed 4 inches, and that is a lot of water. The rivers and creeks in that area could come up fast. Jonesboro, Arkansas. Rain starts Wednesday. Heavy thunderstorms Wednesday night through Thursday. 2 to 3.5 inches of rain. Localized flooding possible in low-lying areas. Little Rock, Arkansas. Active weather from Wednesday through Friday. Heaviest rain Thursday. Severe storms possible, especially Thursday afternoon and evening. Rainfall 2 to 3 inches. Memphis, Tennessee. This is another hot spot. Rain and storms start Wednesday. The heaviest activity is Wednesday night through Thursday night. Yes, that is a long window. Almost 24 hours of heavy precipitation at times. Rainfall totals 2 to 4 inches. Flash flood watches are likely going to be issued for the Memphis metro area, Nashville, Tennessee. Storms arrive Thursday. Peak activity Thursday afternoon through Friday morning. Nashville is on the eastern edge of the heaviest rain axis, but you are still looking at 1.5 to 3 inches. Severe weather is possible, especially Thursday evening, St. Louis, Missouri. After dealing with that winter storm over the weekend, St. Louis gets hit again midweek with heavy rain and thunderstorms. Storms arrive Wednesday. Heavy rain Wednesday night through Thursday night. 2 to 4 inches of rain on top of whatever fell from the winter storm. This is a flooding concern for sure. Indianapolis, Indiana. Rain arrives Thursday. It becomes heavy Thursday night into Friday. 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain. Some thunder mixed in. Not the worst of it, but enough to cause problems, especially if the ground is still saturated from the weekend winter storm. Chicago, Illinois. Here's the thing about Chicago. You are on the northern edge of this system. Rain and storms arrive Thursday. The heaviest rain is Thursday night, but it moves through relatively quickly compared to cities farther south. 1 to 2 inches of rain, a few rumbles of thunder. But the bigger story for Chicago is the warmth. By March 8th, temperatures in Chicago could be in the 60s. In March, that is 30 degrees above average. Detroit, Michigan. Rain Thursday into Friday, 1 to 2 inches. Some thunder possible. Not a severe weather hotspot, but the rain is notable because it is going to accelerate snowmelt, and that means rivers and streams could run high even without extreme rainfall totals. Cleveland, Ohio. Rain arrives Thursday afternoon. Heavy at times Thursday night, 1.5 to 2 inches, and again the snowmelt factor is going to amplify the flooding risk here. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, rain Thursday evening through Friday, 1 to 2 inches. You are on the far eastern edge of the heavy precipitation. Not the worst of it, but still worth watching. Now let me swing down to the deep south because there is a story developing there too. Birmingham, Alabama. Thunderstorms are likely from Thursday through Saturday. Multiple rounds of storms. Some could be severe. Rainfall totals 2 to 3 inches over the multi-day period. Atlanta, Georgia. Storms arrive Thursday evening. Off and on rain through the weekend. Total rainfall 1.5 to 2 inches. The severe risk is lower for Atlanta than for cities further west, but it is not zero. Jackson, Mississippi. Active weather Wednesday through Friday. The heaviest storms Thursday. Severe weather risk is moderate, rainfall 2 to 3 inches. Shreveport, Louisiana, storms fire up Wednesday. Heavy rain Wednesday night through Thursday, 2 to 3 inches. Some of these storms could be strong with gusty winds and hail. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, rain and storms Thursday into Friday, 1.5 to 2.5 inches. Localized flooding in poor drainage areas, New Orleans, Louisiana. Showers and storms Thursday afternoon into Saturday. Not the heaviest rain, but enough, 1 to 2 inches total. Some thunder, Houston, Texas. Rain starts Wednesday, off and on through Friday, 1 to 2 inches. Not a major event for Houston, but the severe weather risk ticks up Wednesday evening, San Antonio, Texas. Storms possible Wednesday. Rain continues into Thursday, 1 to 1.5 inches. Drier by Friday, Austin, Texas. Similar to San Antonio. Storms Wednesday, heaviest Wednesday night. 1 to 2 inches of rain. Now let me head to the southeast coast. Charlotte, North Carolina. Rain arrives Friday. Heavier Friday night into Saturday, 1 to 2 inches. Some thunder. The severe risk is low, but not zero. Raleigh, North Carolina. Similar to Charlotte, but the rain might arrive a little later. Friday night into Saturday, 1 to 1.5 inches. Columbia, South Carolina. Rain Friday into Saturday, light to moderate, under an inch most likely. Charleston, South Carolina. Showers Saturday, maybe half an inch. You are on the far edge of this system. Savannah, Georgia. Light showers Friday into Saturday, not a significant event. Jacksonville, Florida. Hit or miss showers late in the week, not much to worry about. Tampa, Florida, mostly dry. A stray shower possible, not connected to the main system. Miami, Florida. You are way too far south for this. Clear skies. Enjoy it. Now the West Coast. And this is the other side of the pattern flip. Denver, Colorado. After that insane warmth on Friday, temperatures crash back to near normal by Monday. Then, as the pattern flips, Denver could see some snow showers by midweek. Nothing major, but a stark contrast from that 40-degree above average warmth just days earlier. Salt Lake City, Utah. Cooling trend starts early next week. Snow possible in the mountains midweek. Valley rain showers possible. Phoenix, Arizona. Temperatures drop from the 80s back into the 60s by midweek. A system moving through could bring rare rain to Phoenix around Wednesday or Thursday. Las Vegas, Nevada. Cooler temperatures midweek, maybe some high clouds, but mostly dry. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Wind picks up Monday as the pattern shifts. Cooler by Wednesday. A few snow showers possible in the Sandia Mountains. Boise, Idaho. Snow showers possible midweek as the trough digs into the west. An inch or two in the valleys, more in the mountains. Portland, Oregon, rain returns midweek. Portland is used to this. An inch of rain over a few days. Nothing alarming. Seattle, Washington, same as Portland. Rain midweek. Normal Pacific Northwest weather. San Francisco, California. A weak system brings some light rain around Wednesday. Quarter inch maybe. Bay Area fog returns. Los Angeles, California, mostly dry, some high clouds, temperatures in the low 70s, very pleasant compared to the chaos happening in the central and eastern United States. Sacramento, California. Light rain possible Wednesday, a quarter inch or less. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Now here is a fascinating forecast. This weekend, Minneapolis gets cold and snowy. A couple inches possible Sunday. But by the following week, March 7th and 8th, Minneapolis could be touching 60 degrees. That is an incredible swing. From snow to 60 within about 10 days. If you live in Minneapolis, buckle up. Your body is going to feel like it went through a time warp. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Very similar to Minneapolis. Snow this weekend. Then a dramatic warm-up. 50s by late next week. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Snow Sunday. Cold Monday. Then the warmth arrives by Thursday. Upper 40s to low 50s. For Green Bay in early March, that feels like summer. Omaha, Nebraska. 40 degrees above average on Friday. That is just staggering. Then temperatures come back to Earth next week before another warm-up arrives around March 7th. Omaha is going to be on a temperature roller coaster. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Similar ride as Omaha. Warm Friday, cold Sunday. Warm again by mid-next week. Spring-like temperatures by March 8th. Fargo, North Dakota. Snow this weekend, then a slow warm-up through the week. You are far enough north that the warmth takes longer to arrive. But even Fargo could see 40s by March 8th. That is significant for Fargo, Bismarck, North Dakota. Snow Sunday. Cold early next week. Gradual warm-up. 30s to 40s by March 8th. Rapid City, South Dakota. Snow showers possible this weekend. Then a warming trend. 50s by midweek. Billings, Montana. Snow this weekend. Then the trough digs into the west, so you could see more snow midweek. Not a huge warm-up for Billings. You stay on the colder side of the pattern. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Snow showers possible Sunday. Then dry and windy early next week. Temperatures moderate by Wednesday. Reno, Nevada. Cooler midweek. Snow in the Sierra. Reno itself might see rain or a rain-snow mix at lower elevations, Tucson, Arizona. Similar to Phoenix, cooling midweek, a chance of rain, unusual but not unheard of for early March. El Paso, Texas. Wind picks up early next week. A few showers possible Wednesday. Temperatures in the low 70s dropping to the 50s. Lubbock, Texas. Storms possible Wednesday. Heavy rain Wednesday night, 1 to 2 inches. Severe weather risk is moderate for Lubbock. Amarillo, Texas. Similar to Lubbock. Storms Wednesday, could be strong, 1 to 2 inches of rain. Midland and Odessa, Texas. Storms Wednesday, rainfall around an inch. Wind is going to be the bigger story. Gusts could hit 40 to 50 miles per hour. Abilene, Texas. Storms Wednesday into Thursday, 1 to 2 inches of rain. Some thunder could be severe. Fort Worth, Texas. Tracking right with Dallas. Storms Wednesday night into Thursday. Heavy rain, 1.5 to 3 inches. Severe weather risk is real. Waco, Texas. Storms Wednesday. Heavy rain Wednesday night, 1.5 to 2.5 inches. Flash flooding possible in flood-prone areas. Shreveport, I already mentioned you. But let me add this. The severe weather risk for Shreveport is above average for this event. Be weather aware Wednesday through Thursday. Tupelo, Mississippi. Storms Thursday. Moderate severe risk. 1.5 to 2 inches of rain. Huntsville, Alabama. Storms Thursday into Friday. Severe weather possible. 2 to 3 inches of rain over the multi-day period. Knoxville, Tennessee. Rain Thursday night into Friday. 1 to 2 inches. Some thunder. Lower severe risk than cities further west, but still worth monitoring. Lexington, Kentucky. Rain Thursday into Friday. 1.5 to 2 inches. The ground will still be wet from the weekend winter storm, so flooding concerns are elevated. Charleston, West Virginia. Rain Thursday evening through Friday. 1 to 1.5 inches. Mountainous terrain makes flooding a bigger concern even with moderate rainfall. Richmond, Virginia. Light rain Friday. Under an inch. You are on the far eastern edge of this system. Norfolk, Virginia. Similar to Richmond. Light rain. Not a big deal. Now, do not miss the next part, because this is the plot twist. Everything I just described, the winter storm this weekend, the severe weather and flooding next week, all of that is just the opening act. Because the models are showing that this active pattern does not just last a few days, it persists. The European ensembles show this trough in the west and ridge in the east, amplifying even more as we go deeper into March. That means more storms, more severe weather potential, more flooding. From roughly March 5th all the way through at least March 12th and possibly longer. The Storm Prediction Center is already highlighting this time period for organized severe weather. Storm chasers are gearing up right now. This could be the unofficial start of severe weather season 2026. And it is coming weeks ahead of schedule. Here is what the dew points show. Right now, the air is relatively dry across the central United States outside of the immediate southeast. But as we go into next week and beyond, moisture starts surging northward out of the Gulf of Mexico. Dew points climb into the upper 50s and 60s across the southern plains and the Mississippi Valley. That is thunderstorm fuel. And when you combine that fuel with the cold air diving in from the west and the warm air surging up from the south, you get explosive thunderstorm development. It is textbook severe weather setup. Cold air plus warm air plus moisture plus wind shear equals trouble. And the temperature anomalies tell the story perfectly. This weekend, below average temperatures across the northern tier. That is why we are tracking winter weather. But by Thursday of next week and beyond, the warmth takes over. And by March 8th, look at this. Temperatures 30 degrees above average from Minneapolis down through Oklahoma City, Dallas, across Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and all the way up to Washington, D.C., 60s and 70s from the southern plains to the mid-Atlantic. Maybe even touching 70 in New York City and Boston. That is insane for early March. And all of that warmth is going to melt the snow fast. Whatever snow falls this weekend, it is not going to last. By March 8th, it is going to be gone, melted, running off into rivers and streams that are already swollen from the rain. And that is another flooding concern on top of the heavy rainfall. But here is the silver lining. Remember that drought I mentioned, the one stretching across parts of the central United States? This rain is going to help. A lot. We are looking at the drought being significantly relieved over the next 1 to 2 weeks across areas from Oklahoma up through Missouri and into Illinois. That is good news. We need the rain, we just do not need it all at once. And unfortunately, Mother Nature does not always cooperate with our preferences. Now, I want you to do something for me. I want you to take this weekend to prepare. Not panic, prepare. There is a huge difference between those two things, and I want to make sure we are on the same page here. If you are in the winter storm zone, the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, the Northeast, here is your checklist. Make sure your car has a full tank of gas, not half a tank, full. Because if the power goes out and the gas stations cannot pump, you want options. Make sure you have salt or sand for your driveway and sidewalks. Check your flashlight batteries. If there is an ice storm, you might lose power. It happens every single time we get a significant icing event. Some folks lose power for hours, some for days. Be ready. Have blankets, have bottled water, have food that does not require electricity to prepare. Also, if you have an older home, check your pipes. When temperatures swing this wildly, from extreme warmth to a cold snap and back again, pipes and exterior walls or crawl spaces can be vulnerable, especially during the cold portion of this pattern. Let your faucets drip if temperatures drop below freezing in your area. A burst pipe is an expensive problem that is easy to prevent. And here is a tip that most people overlook. Take pictures of your property now, before the storm, before the rain, before the flooding. Take photos of your basement, your yard, your roof, your car. If you end up filing an insurance claim, those before photos are worth their weight in gold. Trust me on this one. 5 minutes of taking pictures could save you thousands of dollars in a dispute with your insurance company. If you are in the severe weather zone, the Southern Plains, the Deep South, the Tennessee Valley, the Mississippi Valley, your preparation is a little different. First, know where your safe room is. Basement, interior room on the lowest floor. A closet or bathroom without windows. Know where you are going before the sirens go off. Because when a tornado warning is issued, you have minutes, not hours, minutes. And you do not want to spend those minutes figuring out where to go. Second, make sure you have a weather radio or a weather app with alerts turned on. I cannot stress this enough. The outdoor sirens are great, but they are designed to alert people who are outside. If you are asleep in your bed at 2 in the morning, you are not going to hear the outdoor siren. You need something inside your home that will wake you up. A National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration weather radio with the alarm function is the gold standard. But a smartphone app like the one from the National Weather Service works too. Just make sure the alerts are turned on and the volume is up. Third, if you live in a mobile home or a manufactured home, identify a sturdy building nearby where you can go if a tornado warning is issued. Mobile homes are not safe in a tornado, period. Even a weak tornado can destroy a mobile home. Know where the nearest storm shelter or sturdy building is before the storms arrive, not during. And finally, clean your gutters. I mentioned this earlier, but I am going to say it again because it is that important. When you get 2 to 4 inches of rain in a few days, clogged gutters mean water overflow. Water overflow means foundation damage. Foundation damage means expensive repairs. Take 20 minutes this weekend and clean them out. It is the easiest and cheapest preparation you can do. For everybody, no matter where you live, here is one more thing. Talk to your neighbors, especially if you have elderly neighbors or neighbors who might not be plugged into the weather forecast. Let them know what is coming. Check on them during and after the storms. Community is the best emergency plan there is. When the power goes out and the roads flood, it is your neighbors who are going to help you first, not the emergency crews who are overwhelmed with calls, your neighbors. So build that connection now. And everybody, no matter where you live, drop a comment below with your city and state. I am building the most detailed forecast I can for the next update, and your comments help me know where to focus. I want to make sure nobody gets caught off guard by this pattern flip. Now here's the teaser for the next video, because this story is not over, not even close. The models are starting to hint at something even bigger developing around March 10th through March 12th. We are talking about a potential major storm system that could affect an even wider area than what I just described. The details are still fuzzy at this range, but the signal is there. And I am going to break it down for you as soon as the data comes into focus. On top of that, I am putting together a full, severe weather season forecast, not just the next 2 weeks, the whole season, March, April, May. Which regions are most at risk? What the larger climate patterns are telling us.
Whether this is going to be an above-average severe weather season or not, that video is coming early next week. You do not want to miss it, so make sure you are subscribed. Hit that notification bell, because when severe weather is on the line, you want to know about it before it happens, not after. Now, let me tell you something that most weather channels will not talk about: the snowmelt factor, because this is a hidden threat that nobody is paying enough attention to. Right now, there is significant snow cover across the northern tier of the United States. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, parts of Iowa, the Dakotas, and even portions of the Ohio Valley still have snow on the ground from the winter storms we had in February. Some areas have 6 to 12 inches of snowpack sitting there right now. And when temperatures shoot up 30 to 40 degrees above average in the span of a few days, that snow does not just gently melt, it melts fast, aggressively, all at once. And where does all that water go? Into the creeks, into the rivers, into the storm drains, on top of the 2 to 4 inches of rain that is coming from the thunderstorms. So you are essentially doubling the water input into these river systems. And that is how you get river flooding. Not just flash flooding from heavy rain, actual river flooding that can last days, sometimes weeks. The cities most at risk for this compound flooding effect are going to be along the Mississippi River corridor, the Ohio River Valley, and the smaller tributaries that feed into them. Think about cities like Davenport, Iowa, Burlington, Iowa, Quincy, Illinois, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Paducah, Kentucky, Evansville, Indiana. These are cities that sit along major rivers and could see water levels rise significantly by mid-March. And here is the thing. It is not just the big rivers, it is the small creeks and streams in your neighborhood that flood first. The ones that nobody thinks about until the water is in their basement. If you live near any body of water, even a small creek behind your house, pay attention to this forecast. Know your flood risk. Know whether you are in a flood zone. And if you are, have a plan. Let me also talk about what this pattern flip means for agriculture, because a lot of folks watching this are farmers or gardeners, and this weather pattern is going to have a direct impact on planting season. The early warmth in the first week of March is going to get people excited. 60s and 70s in the southern plains and the Mississippi Valley, that feels like planting weather. But here is the trap. If you plant too early and then we get a late frost, you lose everything. And while the models are not showing a hard freeze after this warm-up right now, we are only in early March. Frost is absolutely still possible into April for most of the central and eastern United States. So if you are a farmer or a gardener, enjoy the warmth. But do not jump the gun on planting. Let the soil temperature stabilize. Wait for the frost risk to truly pass. I know it is tempting when you see 65-degree days in March, but patience is going to pay off this year. Now let me go back and fill in some cities I have not covered yet, because I promised you over 70 cities, and I am going to deliver on every single one. Spokane, Washington, cooler temperatures mid-week, some mountain snow, valley temperatures in the upper 30s to low 40s, not a big event but seasonal. Missoula, Montana. Snow showers this weekend, another round midweek as the trough digs in, 3 to 6 inches in the mountains, an inch or two in the valley. Great Falls, Montana, wind is going to be the story early next week. Gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour as the pressure gradient tightens. Some snow showers mixed in. Casper, Wyoming, snow this weekend, an inch or two. Then dry and windy early next week before another system moves through Wednesday. Jackson, Wyoming. Snow this weekend and again midweek. The mountains could pick up 6 to 12 inches total over the next 7 days. Great news for the ski resorts. Flagstaff, Arizona. Snow showers possible midweek, an inch or two at elevation. Temperatures drop from the 40s to the low 30s. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Cooling midweek. Rain or snow showers possible Wednesday. High temperatures drop from the 50s to the low 40s. Colorado Springs, Colorado. After the extreme warmth, Friday, temperatures crash by Sunday. Then another warm-up midweek. Snow showers are possible as the trough moves through. 1 to 3 inches above 7,000 feet. Fort Collins, Colorado. Similar to Denver, wild temperature swings. Snow showers possible midweek. Wind is going to be a factor with gusts up to 45 miles per hour. Duluth, Minnesota. Snow this weekend. 3 to 5 inches. Cold Monday and Tuesday. Then a slow warm-up through the rest of the week. By March 8th, Duluth could be in the mid-40s. That is significant. Rochester, Minnesota. Snow Sunday, 2 to 4 inches. Then the warm-up, 50s by late next week.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa, snow Sunday, maybe an inch or two. Then heavy rain and thunderstorms by Wednesday and Thursday, 1.5 to 3 inches of rain. Flooding concerns with the snow melt adding to the rainfall. Davenport, Iowa, same as Cedar Rapids, but with the added Mississippi River flooding risk. Monitor river levels closely next week. Peoria, Illinois, snow and ice Sunday into Monday. Then heavy rain midweek. This is a 1-2 punch that could cause significant flooding issues. 2 to 3 inches of rain on top of snowmelt. Champaign, Illinois, snow Sunday, mix Monday, then rain by Thursday. Cumulative precipitation from both events could total 3 inches or more. Terre Haute, Indiana, ice Sunday into Monday, then heavy rain Thursday. Similar compound flooding risk. Fort Wayne, Indiana, snow Sunday night into Monday, 2 to 3 inches, then rain Thursday, 1 to 2 inches. South Bend, Indiana, snow Sunday, 3 to 5 inches possible thanks to Great Lakes enhancement, then rain Thursday. But the bigger story is the warm-up by late next week. Grand Rapids, Michigan, snow Sunday into Monday, 3 to 5 inches, then rain Thursday. Snow melt flooding possible midweek as temperatures spike. Lansing, Michigan, similar to Grand Rapids, snow Sunday into Monday, rain Thursday. Watch for river flooding. Toledo, Ohio, snow Sunday night, 2 to 4 inches, then rain Thursday, 1 to 2 inches. The Maumee River will be one to watch. Columbus, Ohio, snow and ice mix Sunday night into Monday, 2 to 3 inches of snow with some ice, then rain Thursday. This is going to be a messy stretch for central Ohio. Dayton, Ohio, right in the ice zone, Sunday into Monday. Freezing rain is the primary threat, then heavy rain Thursday, 2 to 3 inches combined from both events. Akron, Ohio, snow Monday, 2 to 4 inches, then rain Thursday into Friday. Moderate flooding risk. Erie, Pennsylvania, lake-enhanced snow Sunday into Monday, 4 to 6 inches possible. Erie knows how to handle this, but it is going to be a plow the driveway twice kind of event. Scranton, Pennsylvania, snow and ice mix Monday, 1 to 3 inches of snow with a glaze of ice, then rain by Friday. Light, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, mix of rain and snow Monday, maybe an inch of accumulation, then rain Friday, under an inch. Wilmington, Delaware, rain and maybe some wet snow Monday, minimal accumulation, not a big event. Trenton, New Jersey, snow and rain mix Monday, maybe an inch, maybe less. Bridgeport, Connecticut, light snow Monday, 1 to 2 inches, melts fast as the warm-up kicks in. Worcester, Massachusetts, snow Monday into Tuesday, 2 to 4 inches, colder and higher elevation than Boston, so you tend to do better with these systems. Springfield, Massachusetts, snow Monday, 2 to 3 inches, then the warm-up. Manchester, New Hampshire, snow Monday night into Tuesday, 3 to 5 inches, stays mostly snow here. Concord, New Hampshire, same as Manchester, 3 to 5 inches. The mountains north of Concord could see more. Bangor, Maine, snow Tuesday, 3 to 6 inches. Northern Maine does well with these systems because the cold air hangs on longer. Augusta, Maine, snow Tuesday, 2 to 4 inches, then a slow warm-up by late week. Montpelier, Vermont, snow Monday night into Tuesday, 4 to 6 inches. Vermont is going to get the most snow out of anyone in the Northeast from this system. There you go. Over 70 cities covered. Specific timing, specific threats. That is what I promised you, and that is what I delivered. Now let me also talk about the severe weather outlook in more detail. The Storm Prediction Center is already flagging the Wednesday through Thursday timeframe for organized severe weather across the southern plains and the lower Mississippi Valley. When I say organized, I mean this is not just random pop-up thunderstorms on a warm afternoon. This is a storm system with structure, a squall line, maybe a few supercells out ahead of it, the kind of setup that can produce tornadoes. Now, I want to be careful here. I am not saying there will be tornadoes. It is way too early for that level of specificity. But the ingredients are coming together. Strong wind shear in the lower atmosphere. High instability from the warm, moist air surging north from the Gulf of Mexico. A powerful jet stream overhead providing the dynamics. These are the same ingredients that produce major severe weather outbreaks every spring, and they are lining up for the first week of March. The area from Dallas and Oklahoma City eastward through Little Rock, Memphis, and up toward Nashville and Huntsville is going to be the primary risk zone. But severe weather can happen outside of the highlighted areas too. If you are anywhere in the central or southern United States, you should be paying attention to this.
And here is something else to think about. Nighttime severe weather. Statistically, storms that occur at night are more dangerous because people are asleep and not aware of warnings. Some of this severe weather is going to occur during the evening and overnight hours on Wednesday into Thursday. So please, if you are in the risk zone, make sure your phone is set to receive emergency alerts. Make sure the volume is on. Make sure you have a plan for getting to safety quickly, even in the middle of the night. I bring this up not to frighten anyone. I bring it up because preparedness is the single most important thing you can do. The people who survive severe weather are the people who had a plan and executed it. It is that simple. Also, let me touch on the dew points because they tell an important part of this story. Dew points are essentially a measure of how much moisture is in the air at the surface. Right now, the air is relatively dry across the central United States. Dew points are in the 20s and 30s for most of the plains. But as we go into next week and the warm surge kicks in, watch what happens. Dew points climb into the upper 50s and even low 60s across the southern plains, the Mississippi Valley and the Tennessee Valley. That is tropical level moisture for early March. That is thunderstorm rocket fuel. And when you combine that moisture with the cold front diving in from the west, you get an explosive collision. Towering cumulonimbus clouds, heavy rain, hail, damaging winds, and yes, potentially tornadoes. The European ensemble models show the severe weather probabilities ticking up starting around March 5th into Texas and Oklahoma. Then those probabilities spread eastward into what storm chasers call Dixie Alley, the corridor from Louisiana through Mississippi, Alabama, and into Tennessee and Georgia by the 8th through the 10th. This is a prolonged threat, not a one-day event, multiple days of severe weather potential. That is unusual this early in the season, and it is a signal that 2026 could be an active, severe weather year. Now, here is a thought I want to leave you with before the final takeaways. We live in an era where weather information is more accessible than ever. You are watching this video right now, which means you already have an advantage over most people. You know what is coming. You have specific timing. You have city-by-city details. That is power. That is the kind of information that a generation ago people simply did not have access to until the storm was already on top of them. But information without action is useless. Knowing a storm is coming and doing nothing about it is the same as not knowing at all. So take what you have learned in this video and turn it into action. Make a plan. Stock up on supplies. Talk to your family. Check on your neighbors. That is how you turn a weather forecast into actual safety. And I also want to mention something for families. If you have kids, talk to them about what is coming too. Not in a scary way, in a calm, matter-of-fact way. Kids handle storms much better when they understand what is happening and what the plan is. Tell them where the safe room is. Tell them what the weather radio sounds like. Turn it into a practice drill. Make it routine. That way, if the real thing happens, they know exactly what to do, and they feel safe because they feel prepared. Same thing with your pets. Have a plan for your animals. Where do they go during a tornado warning? Do you have carriers ready? Do you have their food and water easy to grab? Our animals sense our stress, so the calmer and more prepared we are, the calmer they will be too. Now, before I get to the final key takeaways, let me paint you a picture of what March 8th is going to feel like, because this is the day that really blows my mind when I look at the models. Imagine this. You are in Minneapolis. It is the 8th of March, and instead of bundling up in your heavy winter coat, you are walking outside in a light jacket, maybe just a sweater. The temperature is pushing 60 degrees. 60. In Minneapolis in early March, the snow that was piled up along the sidewalks a week ago, gone, melted, running down the gutters. Kids are outside playing. People are grilling in their backyards. It feels like late April. Now shift your attention to Oklahoma City. Same day, March 8th. It is 72 degrees. The dew points are climbing. You can feel the humidity. Thunderstorms are firing to the west. You can see the anvil tops of distant cumulonimbus clouds catching the afternoon sun. Your weather radio is buzzing with watches and warnings. Two completely different worlds happening at the same time across the same country. And then think about New York City. March 8th, upper 60s. People are sitting in Central Park in short sleeves. The cherry blossoms are not blooming yet, but you can feel them thinking about it. Washington, D.C., same deal. Temperatures near 70. The National Mall is packed with people enjoying the warmth. And just days earlier, some of these same cities were dealing with snow and ice. That is the power of this pattern flip. It is not gradual. It is not subtle.
It is dramatic, it is sudden, and it is going to reshape the weather landscape across the entire country in the span of about a week. And here is what I keep coming back to. This warmth is not just nice weather, it is fuel. It is energy being loaded into the atmosphere like putting logs on a fire. And when the cold front comes crashing into all of that warmth and moisture, the atmosphere is going to explode. That is not hyperbole. That is physics. Warm air rises, cold air sinks. When they collide, you get updrafts, you get rotation, you get severe thunderstorms, and sometimes you get tornadoes. The atmosphere does not care what the calendar says. It does not care that we are barely into March. If the ingredients are there, severe weather happens. And the ingredients are going to be there, all of them, in abundance. Let me also address something that I know some of you are thinking. You are thinking, well, the models change all the time. Maybe this will not happen. And you are right, models do change. The exact track of the winter storm this weekend could shift. The exact location of the heaviest rain next week could change. Individual thunderstorm details will absolutely evolve as we get closer. But here is what is not going to change. The overall pattern, the large-scale setup, the trough in the west, the ridge in the east, the warmth surging north, the cold air diving south, that pattern is locked in. Multiple models agree on it. Multiple ensemble runs confirm it. The details will sharpen, but the big picture is set. And the big picture says active, potentially dangerous weather for a large portion of the country over the next 10 to 14 days. So when someone tells you the forecast might change, they are right about the details. But they are wrong if they are telling you to ignore this. The signal is strong, the confidence is high, and the potential for impacts is real. Let me also quickly mention the economic impact of what we are looking at. I know that might seem like an odd thing to bring up in a weather forecast, but hear me out. When you have a major winter storm followed by widespread flooding and severe weather all within the span of 10 days, the damage costs add up fast. We are talking about potential flight cancellations and delays at major airports like O'Hare in Chicago, Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta, Dallas-Fort Worth, and airports across the Ohio Valley. We are talking about crop damage if severe storms hit agricultural areas with hail. We are talking about power outages from ice storms and high winds. We are talking about road closures and infrastructure damage from flooding. Every one of you watching this is going to be affected in some way. Maybe it is a delayed flight, maybe it is a flooded basement, maybe it is just having to adjust your outdoor plans. But this weather pattern is going to touch everyone, and the more prepared you are, the less it disrupts your life. All right, now let me give you the final key takeaways, because there is a lot of information and I want to make sure you walk away with the most important pieces. Number 1. A winter storm impacts the Ohio Valley and parts of the Northeast Sunday through Monday. The biggest concerns are freezing rain from Kansas City to Richmond, Virginia, and snow from the northern plains through the Great Lakes. Number 2. Plan for a slower commute Monday morning if you are anywhere from St. Louis to Pittsburgh to New York City. Even if accumulations are light, icy roads are dangerous roads. Number 3. A massive pattern flip is coming. Temperatures soar to 30 to 40 degrees above average across the central and eastern United States by March 5th through 8th. This warmth will feel like spring, but it comes with a price. Number 4. Severe weather and heavy flooding rain develop from roughly March 4th through March 8th and possibly beyond. The bullseye for the heaviest rain is from Springfield, Missouri up through St. Louis and toward Indianapolis. 2 to 4 inches widespread with locally higher amounts. Number 5. Severe thunderstorms with hail, damaging winds, and possible tornadoes are on the table from Dallas to Oklahoma City to Memphis to Nashville and beyond during this same time period. Number 6. This pattern may persist and even amplify into mid-March. More storms, more rain, more severe weather potential. This is just the beginning. That is a lot, I know. But that is the reality of what is developing right now. This is one of those weeks where the weather map lights up coast to coast, and I am going to be here every step of the way to keep you updated. So thank you for sticking with me through all of that. Do me a favor and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe your neighbor, maybe your family in another state, maybe that friend who never checks the weather until it is too late. Share it with them. Because information is the best preparation there is. Drop your city in the comments. Tell me what you are most concerned about. Are you worried about the ice, the flooding, the severe weather? Let me know. I read every comment and I used your feedback to shape the next forecast. And speaking of the next forecast, here is what is coming. I am going to do a deep dive into the severe weather potential for March 5th through March 10th, city by city breakdowns for the tornado and hail risk zones, specific timing windows for when the most dangerous storms are expected. And I am also going to release my full severe weather season outlook for 2026. Is this going to be an above average year for tornadoes? Where are the highest risk zones going to be from March through June? I have been combing through the data and I have some strong opinions that I think you are going to want to hear. That video drops early next week, Monday or Tuesday, so make sure you are subscribed and that bell is turned on, because when severe weather is developing, you want to be the first to know, not the last. Also, one more thing. If you found this forecast helpful, do me a huge favor and share it. Text it to a friend. Send it to your family members in other states. Post it on your social media, because the best weather forecast in the world does not help anyone if they do not see it. Information saves lives. And the more people who hear about this pattern flip, the more people who will be ready for it. And real quick, for those of you who are just joining and maybe skip to the end, let me give you the 30-second version. Winter storm this weekend hitting the Ohio Valley and Northeast. Freezing rain and ice from Kansas City to Richmond. Snow from the Dakotas through the Great Lakes and into New England. Then by midweek next week, a massive pattern flip brings 60 and 70-degree temperatures across the eastern United States. That warmth collides with cold air from the west and triggers widespread severe thunderstorms and flooding from Dallas to Chicago to Nashville. 2 to 4 inches of rain, possible tornadoes, flash flooding. It is a big deal. Scroll back up and watch the full video for your city-specific forecast. That is all I have got for you. Stay safe out there, be smart, be prepared, and I will see you in the next one where things get even more intense. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Take care, everybody. Right now, as you are watching this, a massive pattern flip is developing across the United States. And I am not exaggerating when I say this could be one of the most dramatic weather shifts we have seen in months. We are talking about temperatures swinging 40 degrees in some cities. We are talking about a winter storm barreling toward the Ohio Valley and the Northeast this weekend. And behind that storm, a flood threat that could dump 2 to 4 inches of rain across a huge stretch of the country. But here is the thing, that is not even the biggest story. The biggest story is what happens after all of that. Because by the first week of March, everything flips. The pattern completely reverses, and severe weather season could kick off weeks earlier than normal. So if you live anywhere from Denver to Boston, from Dallas to Detroit, from Minneapolis to Miami, you need to hear what is coming. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because at the 5-minute mark, I am going to break down the exact timing of when this pattern flip hits your city. Not a general idea. Exact days, exact windows. That is coming. But first, let me show you what is happening right now and why this matters so much. Let me set the stage for you. It is Thursday, February 26th, 2026. And right now, as we speak, there is active weather across the eastern half of the country. Rain is falling from Raleigh down through Columbia and into the Atlanta metro. We have got showers pushing through the mid-Atlantic. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, all seeing rain right now. And up in Michigan, specifically the Upper Peninsula near Traverse City and up toward Marquette, snow is falling. Not a lot, but enough to remind you that winter is not done yet. Not by a long shot. And here is what nobody tells you about what is happening in the atmosphere right now. There are multiple pieces of energy flying across the jet stream. Think of it like a highway. And right now, there are several cars barreling down that highway at high speed. The first one is going to clip the southeast tonight with some stronger storms. We could see hail in parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia this evening. And I know what you are thinking. Hail in February? Yes. Actually, it is more common than you think this time of year because the air is already cold aloft. You do not need as strong of an updraft to keep those ice pellets from melting before they hit the ground. So if you are in central Alabama, if you are in Georgia, if you are in Mississippi tonight, heads up. Stronger thunderstorms are possible and a little bit of hail would not surprise me at all. But that is just the appetizer. The main course is coming this weekend. Now, here is where it gets interesting, and I mean really interesting, because what we are tracking for Sunday into Monday is a winter storm that is going to impact millions of people across the Ohio Valley and potentially the Northeast. But here is the twist. The models cannot agree on how big this thing is going to be, and that disagreement is actually the story right now. Let me explain. The Global Forecast System, what we call the GFS, is showing a more suppressed system. That means the storm stays farther south and does not really curl up the coast like a classic nor'easter. If the GFS is right, the biggest impacts are going to be felt from St. Louis down through Louisville into eastern Kentucky and then northeast towards Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. The GFS is also showing ice getting as far south as Interstate 40 in North Carolina, snow into Virginia, a wintry mix mess through much of Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. That is the GFS solution. Now, the European model. Different story. The European model has a skinnier band of snow pushing through Iowa, up through Chicago, into parts of Indiana, specifically Bloomington northward, Springfield northward into Illinois, and then into southern Michigan and Ohio. But the European kind of fizzles this storm out as it works toward the northeast. So the European says less of a big deal for New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. Here is the thing, though. When the models disagree like this, it tells us something important. It tells us the track is still uncertain. And a shift of just 50 miles north or south completely changes who gets snow, who gets ice, and who just gets rain. 50 miles. That is it. That is the margin we are working with right now.
So what do we know for sure? Here is what we know. Somewhere between Kansas City and Richmond, Virginia, there is going to be an ice threat this weekend into early next week. Freezing rain. And that is actually more dangerous than snow in a lot of ways. You can drive in snow, you can shovel snow, but a quarter-inch of ice on the roads, on the power lines, on the trees, that shuts everything down. And that ice threat is real. It is something I am watching very closely for localized areas across that corridor. Now let me give you the timing, because I know that is what you care about. You do not want to hear me say a storm is coming sometime this weekend. You want to know exactly when. So here it is. If you are in Des Moines, Iowa, snow starts moving in late Saturday night into Sunday morning. It peaks Sunday afternoon, and it should be winding down by Sunday evening. For you, this is primarily a snow event, probably a couple of inches.